Okay, Unit 6 test inequalities. We'll be taking this on Wednesday, 2 days from now. Okay, you get one to work on your own tomorrow. Okay, write inequalities for the graph. Now, you can see that, and you don't put, you get x, you're going to put -2. Now, when it goes that way, it has to eat the letter, okay, or whatever variable you have chosen, x. And then you put the line underneath it. There you go. Okay, now, right here it's 11, and when x is all numbers that way, that means we need to eat the 11 because the 11's largest. Okay, we don't put the line because it's open. Okay, number 3, this is a between graph, so we put x, then we put -10 and -2. -2 is the maximum amount, so we have to eat that. And then -10 is a minimum amount, so we do not eat the -10. That sign has to open up or eat the variable. We're not going to put the lines on this one because the circles are empty. Okay, number 4, that looks like an OR. Okay, so we got x7, so going that way means x is larger than 7, so it eats the x with the line. Going this way means -8 is larger than anything x is, so less than equal, we eat the number with that. Okay, now we start solving some inequalities for the variables. So we're solving the inequality, graph your solution, label your graph, please. Okay, so there's my graph all set up. Now I have to find out what the graph's going to represent. So you have -2x plus 7 less than or equal to 45. So this is my only x. We have one symbol. This is the only x we have. So what are the operations on that side? Well, you got times with -2 and plus 7. So we highlight the times. And since we have times by a negative, we will need to switch the signs because eventually I'll have to divide both sides by that negative. So that means the sign switches. But first I have to take out the plus 7. So I'm -7. Now when I'm minusing and adding numbers, we drop the original sign. The sign doesn't really flip till we're dividing. So -2 times x, and then 45 minus 7 is 38. Then we divide each side of the inequality by the -2, and that's when the sign flips. So we got x, -19, okay? So -19, you circle, you fill it. Eating the x, that means x can be any number that way. So that means you need to eat the x, okay? All right, 2x plus 1 greater than or equal to -3. So I'm identifying all the possible values for x. So you got times and plus. Now this time we have times, but it's by a positive, so that will be keeping the sign the same. So we got plus 1, so we need to minus 1. -3 minus 1, that's going to give you -4. And then divide each side by 2. -4 divided by 2 is -2. Okay. So again, the sign doesn't flip. It's eating the x, so again it goes this way. Okay, next one. 18 is less than or equal to -6x. Okay, so x is on this side of the inequality, so it's 6 and x, that'd be a times. So that's a switch, because we have, and switch it, okay. We don't have to add or subtract, we just go straight into the dividing. Now we keep x behind that symbol, okay, and then -3. So -3, circle, fill it. It's eating the number this time, it eats the value, so this means it goes this way, even though that's a greater than sign, okay. Okay, number 8. 1/2 x is less than -3. Okay, so we got 1/2 means 1/2 times x. And that's a positive, so that's a keep. Okay. And we don't have to add or subtract, we go straight into the dividing by 1/2. Okay, -3 divided by 1/2 is going to give me -6. Okay, so -6, circle, eats the number, eating the number goes this way. Okay, then this one we have 8x plus 2 is less than 5x minus 7. Okay, we have x's, 2 of them on opposite sides, so I don't really know what I'm going to do with the sign until I've simplified it so that x appears once. So let's take out the smaller x, let's subtract 5x. And that's going to give me 3x plus 2 less than -7. Okay. Now I think I have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen with that sign, because now I have x on just one side of the inequality with a times and a plus. So the times operation is by a +3, so that's a keep. But first we have to take out the plus 2. So -9, 3 times x, and we divide each side by 3. We have x with -3. Okay, it's eating the numbers, so that takes it this way. Okay. All right, number 10. Okay, gee, we have 2 of these symbols, so that means I want to set a table right below it with a number line off to the side, because I need to split the 2 into, I need to split the compound inequality into 2 separates. So on one side, I'm going to have 3 less than or equal to 4x minus 5. On the other side, I start at 15, and I'm going to go 4x minus 5 less than or equal to 15. Okay, so x is on this side with a times 4, a minus 5. Again, that's the same as a plus -5. Now the 4 times is what we want to highlight because that's a keep. And now I have to get the x spot, undo the operations around the x. So -5, we got to take that out. So it's 8 with 4 times x. Then I divide each side by 4, and we have 2 with x. Okay, then over here we got times, and again the same operations apply. That again it's keep. Take out your -5. You're going to add 5 to both sides. 15 plus 5 is 20. You have x, 5. Okay, so we have 2 and 5, so 2 and 5. So you're going to fill them both in. The 2, it eats the x, because when it eats the x, it goes this way. With the 5x and 5, it eats the number, so that takes us back this way. Okay. So you got 2, you got 5, you need to eat the 5, then you need to eat the x, okay? Okay, number 11, 4x plus 5 greater than or equal to 13, or 7x minus 2 is less than or equal to 12, so that's another compound inequality. Okay, so number line, then your table. So on one side you got 4x plus 5 greater than or equal to 13. On the other side, you got 7x minus 2 less than or equal, and I made a really bad screw up here. We're not going to put 12, okay? I need to put -23 needs to go right there, okay? So I made a mistake. That's going to be a -23. Okay, so we got times 4 and plus 5, so that's a keep. Of course, we do have to take out the plus 5 in between, so -5 minus 5, you're going to get 8. Divide by 4, divide by 4, you get 2. X greater than or equal to 2. Okay, now over here you got times 7. Okay, so that's a keep. Take out the -2 by adding 2. -23 plus 2 is -21, so you divide each side by 7 then, and you get -3. Okay, so we have +2 and -3. They're both filled because the lines are underneath. So with 2, it's eating the x, so that would be this way. And then with the -3, it's eating the value, so that's back the other way. So you got or, okay, and you just copy down your 2 solutions. Sentences is what they're called. Okay, number 12. Okay, if you see absolute value, again, a lot of people on this test just don't know where to go on an absolute value, okay? So, a couple things. You're going to set up a table off the side, and then you're going to label your D, okay? So, take the inside expression x plus 4 and set that on both sides. And then you're going to put the symbol, the given symbol, and then flip it on the other side, okay? Now, that's the end of it. Oh, x plus 4 comes back over here, but for now we're just going to replace that whole expression with the absolute value with D. Okay, so we have the distance of 8, okay? So pretty cut and dry there, because you can be at 8 or -8. Now you just solve it. Okay, this is a keep. If you put a multiplying number, it's 1. If you don't put a multiplying number, it's still a keep. So sign keeps. All you got to do is -4. Of course, if you put the 1, you'll divide by 1, but that's okay. Keep -4, you get x -12. Okay, now those need to be graphed. So the 4, fill it, -12, fill it. 4 eats x, so that would be this way. With -12, it's eating the numbers, so it would be back this way. So or, and we just fill in the sentences. Okay, then there's more where that came from, number 13, okay? So again, I see absolute value, I make a table, and I put my D, okay? So x plus 4 is the D expression. Now we have 2D equals 8. Now we have to solve for the D variable. We don't know what our distance is because we have 2 times D. Well, we just need to divide by 2, and D equals 4, okay? So we have a distance of 4. Now that could be 4 or -4. Now I don't have to worry about keeping or switching the sign here because they're just equals. So -4, I get 0. If you want to put the 1, divide by 1, it's the same thing. -4, if you have -4, -4 backwards 4 on a number line is -5, -6, -7, -8. Okay? And we're not graphing those because they just say equals. I wouldn't know what direction to go. Okay, number 14. Again, put D over there. 4x plus 1 is the inside. Then the overall distance, you have D, and then you got -2 equals 5. Okay, so -2 is a plus -2. You just need to take the -2 to 0 by adding 2. So D equals 7. So you could be at 7 or -7. Remember, it ain't no solution. It's no solution if D ends up equal to a negative. That wasn't the case in either one of these. Okay, now I got to solve for x. You got times 4 plus 1. So we need to take out the plus 1 first. That would be 6. Then we need to divide by 4. And that's 1.5 or 1.5. Okay, now same operations apply here, but now it's -7 minus 1. If you're at -7 on a number line, you go backwards 1 to the left. That'd be -8. divided by your 4. Negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. Now you can get a negative for your inside variable. It's the distance that can't equal the negative. Okay, then story problem time. We are putting a fence around a rectangular plot of land. We have 600 feet of fence. The width of the plot is 125 feet. Write and solve an inequality that represents the length of the plot. So have means less than or equal. Now we're not going to just start throwing in numbers here, okay? You can cross out 600. Now what you're going to write though is you're putting that feet of fence around all 4 sides. Now 2 of the sides are labeled L, so that would be 2 times L or L times 2, whatever. Plus, then we have to put it around 2 more sides with W. Okay, so there's your inequality. Now you have to replace one of the letters. Now it says the width of the plot's 125 feet, so 125 is W. That goes in for W. Okay, so I need to multiply 2 times 125, and that's 250. So now we have 2 times L still, plus a value of 250 less than or equal to 600. Okay, now we got to solve for L. So you got times and plus. Okay, so that's keep. Of course, first you have to take out your plus 250. So you subtract 250. That's 350, and then 2 times L. So then we divide each side of that inequality by 2, and you get L. 350 divided by 2 is 175. Okay. So the length of that plot needs to be 175. It eats a number, so anything that way. Of course, it couldn't be negatives, but we'll worry about that a different day. Okay. Okay, number 16. In chemistry class, my goal is to average 84 on the test I've taken. So far, I have received 76, 90, and 82. Write and solve an inequality that represents possible scores on my next test to meet my goal. Okay, so goal would be set up. This is my starting point. Then we're going to write, my goal is 84. Now, I need to write an expression for the average, AVG. Now, I know average, I divide by how many there are. Now, I see 3, but if you put 3, you're cooked, because you have another test you take, so there would be 4. So there have to be 4 things added across the top. Well, 76 is probably one of them. 90 is probably the next one. 82 is probably the next one. And I don't have anything else, so it would be plus X. Okay. Now you need to simplify that. You can't ever actually divide, but you can at least add the 3 you've already taken. You're not going to divide, but you can at least add the 3 quantities you already have. And that's going to be 248. Okay, so we have X plus 248 divided by 4. Well, what's the next step? Well, when I have one whole side divided by a number, we need to put that in parentheses, okay? And we're not going to do the rainbows, because that's what happens when I have 4 times. What do I do when I have divide by, a parentheses divided by 4? Well, I get rid of the divided by 4 by multiplying by 4, okay? So again, when I have one whole side divided by a number, I need to times 4 to each side to get rid of the division. So you've got X plus 248 greater than or equal. Take a calculator, 4 times 4 is going to be 336. Then I solve away. We just have X on this side. That's a keep, because if you do have a multiplied number, it would be 1, or you can keep the 1 off. It's a keep regardless. So you do the opposite of plus 248, and you minus 248. So 336 minus 248, I think that's going to be 88. Yep. So I have solved. Okay. The inequality. So I know starting with 88, 88 meets the goal dead on. Eating the x, we can go anything past that. Okay. Okay, and the last problem. The dimensions of a rectangular piece of equipment can vary by as much as 0.25 inches. Okay. Couple things I need to do, and they will be this way on the test. I want you to circle range with underline vary. Okay. A vary amount means within, so when I see that amount, I put a plus minus 0.25 up there from the desirable amount. Desired length is 8 inches, desired width is 10 inches. Write an inequality that represents the range of each dimension. So a range is set up with a number line. We're going to mark 3 points on the number line: the middle, the minimum, the maximum. Alright, now the length is supposed to be 8, but we add to find the max, so 8, and we subtract. So we're going to add 0.25 and minus 0.25. So when I add, I get 8.25, and when I subtract, I get 7.75. Whoa, 7.75, that's a 7 there. Okay, now, just extend the lines. We fill them in because they can be equal to those amounts, and then anything in between. Now, you need to get rid of your 8 at that point, because to label it, you just use L. You don't put 8 in the middle. You put variable L. And then 7.75, and then 8.25. So this is the maximum. Then we never eat the minimum. Do not open the sign towards the minimum. You open the sign to the variable. Alright, now the width, same idea. Width is supposed to be 10, okay? But you can go over or under by the variation amount. So 0.25, 0.25. So it's going to be 10.25, and when I subtract, I get 9.75. Okay, circle, you're going to fill them both in. You combine it into one. Now when you label it, you need to get rid of the 10, okay? And you need to just use W. You don't put 10 in the middle, because, yeah, you're stating the obvious, but you're going to put W. So 9.75, 10.25. Okay, so eat the 10.25, then eat the W. Okay. All right, that's your answers. Those are your inequalities with their graphs.